Hello and welcome back to Rock Cycle. I hope you're having a good day. Now, it has been quite a while since I've been on the channel, so I may be a bit rusty today, so please bear with if I'm a bit slow, but hopefully it won't be too bad. For anyone wondering, which I guess will only be one or two of you, I've actually been quite busy doing, well, just starting a master's degree in environmental management if you're interested, so that's why I haven't actually been that busy on the channel for the past couple of months, as I'm just getting back into the swing of doing actual work and things with my life out of lockdown. But anyway, as I'm sure you've seen on the title or the thumbnail, today we're looking at Bring Me the Horizon's new EP called Post-Human Survival Horror. Now, this is called an EP by the band, but I think by most definitions and as far as the official charts are concerned, this is actually an album because it's longer than 25 minutes, I think is the requirement for an EP. So yeah, this is called an EP, but it's also kind of an album. But this really is, I'm sure, what will make a lot of old Bring Me the Horizon fans fairly happy, because this is a return to the heavy side of the band. But maybe if you're a newer fan, if you became a fan in That's the Spirit and Ammo eras of the band, you won't be too disappointed, because you definitely see a lot of those influences, those sort of more pop rock stylings, those cleaner vocals and those electronic sounds, and they've all been combined here into this one album / EP. So that has really led to nothing really being quite straightforward on this album. You can't really straightforwardly describe it. It's really, I think, unfair and unjust to Bring Me the Horizon to simply call this a rock album or a metal album, or even call it a metal album, because there is so much going on this album, so many different genres and stylings coming in, combining together in ways I haven't seen before. It even seems to have got some genres and styles, I guess, which I've never even heard of before. Maybe it's out there, maybe I just don't know about it. But you got lots on this album, so you can't really just summarise it in that few words. I think really, I don't have the time for this because I am still busy doing my master's degree, but you could go through great effort describing each song uniquely, because it is hard to summarise the album as a whole. We'll have a look at a few of the songs, but I don't have time to look at all of them. You do get things throughout this album. You get some really like gnarly metalcore with sort of those intense bone-crunching riffs like the old days of Bring Me the Horizon. In the opening track, Dear Diary, you get those Linkin Park hip-hop and metal vibes on Teardrops that became very popular. They sort of even have Prodigy styling electronicore combining with J-pop almost on Kingslayer, which I quite liked. And then you round the album off with I guess an emotional piano ballad with Amy Lee off Evanescence fame. Now, I personally really like that song. It's a bit sort of sappy and emotional, I guess, but it's very somber. It adds a good note to end the album on, and it's very powerful and intense in a very different way from all the other songs. This is all very intense emotionally, while the other songs, yes, they're intense emotionally, but I guess you'd say when you're talking about them intensely, you'd mean the music and the energy. This one's more purely focused on the emotion and the vocals. Now, I do really like it. I can't quite remember what it's called. It's quite a long name. Something to do with the last spiders you'll see coming out of your chest. I don't know. It's quite a long name. But yeah, I do quite like that song, but I'm going to be very interested to see how other people react to it, because it is very different from what you'd expect and what people know from Bring Me the Horizon. So I'm sure some people are going to love it, some people are going to hate it. I reckon that's going to be the most polarising track on this album. But yeah, while they all sort of fit into this general, I guess, dystopian, alternative, heavy horror theme on this album, each song does contrast each other quite well, and each song has its own merit, which is something I really like in my music. I do like albums, but they're never really one of my favourite albums when each song's good, but they're all a bit similar and sometimes they blend into each other and you can't really always tell them apart too well. I like this album, and I like albums like it when each song stands out in its own right. Each song does something different. Every song has a purpose being on that album. You've got no filler songs. Every song's doing something, and it makes each one of them at the very least interesting to listen to. Even if you don't like it, you don't like what Bring Me the Horizon have done on that one, maybe it's a bit different, or what you don't like. It's certainly an interesting listen at the very least. We've also got quite a few collabs on this album, even though it is a fairly short one, including Amy Lee, as we've already said, Nova Twins, who are quite a good up-and-coming act, which I recommend keeping your eye on over the next couple of years, Youngblood, and we've also got Baby Metal. And I do quite like these on this album, especially because, similar to Ammo, I don't think Bring Me the Horizon have chosen the obvious choices to collab with. Like, generally you see people collabing with people who are very similar, but I like it when you get someone who's a bit different. Like, yeah, I guess you would describe all these acts as alternative heavy acts, besides maybe Youngblood, who's just sort of alternative, I guess. But they are all quite different from Bring Me the Horizon, so when you get them on, when you collab with them, it gives the song a new dimension, it gives it something unique and it stands out. And I really like that. So you sort of see Bring Me the Horizon combining their sound with other people's sounds and styles, and it makes the songs a lot better in my opinion when you're bringing together the best of two different worlds, putting them together and see what that can do. I'll just quickly go through my top 3 favourite songs off the album, but that is my top 3 favourites after only 2 listens through. I reckon there's a strong chance maybe this will change in a couple of days. If one song really grows on me and I decide that's my favourite, I'll let you know down in the comments. But first of all, I'm going to say Teardrops, and that is because I am a very big Linkin Park fan, and from my first listen, and it seems from a lot of other people's first listens as well, you get very strong Linkin Park vibes on that song. Now, I'm a really big fan of Linkin Park, and I know the band are from their interviews, and you've definitely seen a Linkin Park influence on Bring Me The Horizon in the past, but I think this is the one where it's the most out and out obvious Bring Me The Horizon influence, with a really sort of hip-hop style metal verses that build up into an energetic chorus. Is very similar to the Meteora and Hybrid Theory days of of Linkin Park. So I really like to see their legacy live on, and I think they've really perfectly fused the two bands' sounds together to create something that's, yes, inspired from two different places, but is unique and stands out by itself. It's not just a blatant copy. One of my other personal favourites is Obey. That was actually released a month or so ago, I guess, at this point. Even though the song I wouldn't really describe as a punk song, the way the lyrics are delivered with so much attitude and aggression and personality, it all really gives me big punk vibes, at least in the vocals. And that really combines really well with those really electrifying bridges that really build up the chorus, start hyping it up, bring lots of energy in, and there's really strong bursts of aggression you get throughout the song. And I'm going to say Kingslayer is my third favourite at the moment. I really like the way that combines those metalcore riffs, those wild electronic breakdowns, and a relatively clean vocal performance from Baby Metal doing the chorus, which I think really well contrasts with the more chaotic, wild sounds going on in the background, and it makes for a surprisingly catchy, heavy song, which, while I do like heavy music, I don't really always find it catchy, but I guess it does in this time with the more clean vocals. But overall, all of these songs, and basically every song on the album, besides maybe the last one, I really just can't wait to see live, because they're all really similar to That's the Spirit. I feel these songs have sort of almost been designed to play live. They're really designed with strong bridges, strong hooks, to really hype up the crowd. They're designed for that moment when you're opening up a mosh pit, and then when the chorus hits, it's designed for the crowd to go wild. I think that Bring Me The Horizon have intentionally done that on this album. So hopefully, well, I mean, I hope coronavirus ends so people stop dying, but hopefully it also ends so we get to see Bring Me The Horizon live in the not too distant future. Post-human survival horror does really have these strong themes throughout the album, which really sort of fit into these global feelings that are quite universal among almost everyone, I think, of anger, confusion and fear, sort of linked to coronavirus and then linked to other difficulties we're going through as a whole human race at the moment. And I think that works quite well. It makes it very easy, very relatable to virtually everyone, because we're all in this situation together. At some point, such as in Parasite Eve, I do feel it is a little on the nose, like when they use the quarantine metaphor, but I think generally it's done quite well throughout the album. And I guess it's kind of taking advantage of the situation, I guess, to find something that so universally unites everyone, and using that to create something that we can all bond over out of our shared fears and emotions and feelings behind the coronavirus and the kind of crisis that is 2020. My only real criticism of this album, which isn't really a criticism I guess, is that it is a little short, but I think I'm completely alright with that, because we knew that going into it. We knew this wasn't meant to be an album, this was an EP, and we know we're getting so much music from Bring Me The Horizon, with supposedly another 3 EPs like this over the next year, so I'm very excited to be looking forward to those. If this was like Bring Me The Horizon's return after a couple of years, they made half an hour of music and that was it for the next few years, I would be a bit disappointed. But because I know there's more music on the horizon very soon, I don't really expect them to put that much in this album, so I'm perfectly happy with this. So that's all good as far as I'm concerned, really, where I would criticise that for maybe a normal album. Hello, I am quickly just jumping in while editing this video, because I think there's quite an important point that I missed out, and that is to consider the circumstances under which this album was made, because it was mostly made over FaceTime. You can see a lot of videos about how the band did it for their vlogs when they made Parasite Eve, and these really were very suboptimal conditions to make the album. Now yes, that doesn't make the album sound better or worse necessarily, but I think it does sort of show you need to, well, you should respect the band a lot more for being able to put out an album this good under these circumstances, because that would be hard enough at the best of times, but considering how they weren't even able to be in the same rooms as each other, I think that really shows the talent and the effort that's gone in behind this record. So I just thought that's important to mention, so I was adding that in now. So overall, I really do feel this album gives us everything that made Bring Me The Horizon great at each stage of their career. Besides maybe their early deathcore Count Your Blessing days, I don't really think they've incorporated that too much. But I think you've got the metalcore, you've got the post-hardcore, you've got the electronic rock, and then you've got whatever the heck you describe Amo as. You've got that all, so much things all combined together so well, they fit together so well, and then you got it all condensed down, all those different things down to one pretty short album, and I think that's done really well. And then the album does give us a lot more on top of that. It's almost, I guess, you could describe it as a Bring Me The Horizon best off album, showing off all their best songs, but entirely with new songs. So I think all that for me means I am going to be giving my first ever on this channel 5-star review of the album, because I do really love it. That might be because I am quite biased towards Bring Me The Horizon. They are my favourite active band, so I feel I was probably gonna love this no matter what it was. I'd have just convinced myself I was gonna love it. And maybe I'm also a bit biased because I haven't really had that much new music for a while, and I'm just excited for whatever new music. So maybe I'll change my opinion a bit in a few days. Again, I'll let you know down in the comments if maybe I've realised, oh, I was just too excited, too hyped up, and it's actually a bit more mediocre. But I do think it is good. I think personally for me this is definitely album of the year so far at least, but we've got a couple months left, who knows what could happen. Normally I would have asked you to click on the poll above my head and tell me what you think of the album, rate it out of 5 stars, but very annoyingly YouTube's now removed polls from YouTube videos. I don't know why, for whatever reason. I thought they were great, at least for my channel. So let me know down in the comments, what do you think of the album? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you in the middle? Because I'm sure this is going to be, while I think it is a very good album, I definitely see this as being a very polarising album. I do think some people are going to love it and some people are going to hate it, because it's something so out there and something so different. Like, when you do something that's very different, not everyone's going to love it. That's just an unfortunate fact. So, well, hopefully you've enjoyed watching the video. Thank you for clicking on it. Like, share, subscribe, all the usual YouTube shit. Maybe go follow me on Twitter. The link will be in the description, because that's probably the best place where I'm the most active at the moment, at least, I guess. As always, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.